guys, it's me again, Madame Macabre. So today I was actually on Facebook scrolling down through some old posts trying to find something, and I accidentally stumbled across a link I had long forgotten was even there. See, about 3 years ago, back when I was still a junior in college, I spent several months studying abroad in Italy. Well, I had forgotten that during my entire time there, I was actually cataloging all of that like a journal with entries and photos in an online blog. And I actually have not read through those entries since I posted them initially like 3 years ago. So I thought it might be a fun experience for me to relive and share that with you by going through narrating these different blog entries and sharing the photos and kind of seeing how that goes. It's been 3 years. I don't remember what I wrote. I may embarrass myself, but it should be good fun. So, how about we get started and you guys let me know what you think? Alright, well, here it goes. We have days 1 and 2. Day 1. Well, everyone knows that the getting there part of any trip sucks. The airplanes are usually uncomfortable, have bad food, and it's pretty difficult to adjust to the new time zones at first. Well, today was pretty much the worst experience I've ever had in my life. I remember this, oh boy. To begin, I started out leaving Seattle for my 1:40 p.m. flight to Amsterdam. It started out just fine. I said goodbye to my parents in the airport, and in no real hurry, made it to my gate. I even chatted with a nice old couple who were on their way to Poland. Things only started to turn bad mildly at first. The airplane was there and waiting for us on time, but there was what seemed like several dozen people who had screwed up on their boarding passes, and the entire flight had to wait for them. So needless to say, by the time the plane took off, it was near 2:30 p.m. Now, the flight wasn't too bad. The man sitting next to me was very polite and was actually very interesting to talk to, as he was on his way home to Mumbai. However, I didn't have nearly as much luck with the passengers in front of me. They were a little old French couple who at first seemed perfectly fine, but about a third into the flight, right as I was in the middle of simultaneously watching a movie and sketching in my book, the woman in front of me decided that she needed to have a death match with the recliner button on her chair. For the next 5 minutes, she bashed the back of her chair into my knees, knocked my sketchbook around, and even hit me in the face several times with my TV screen. It was either she was senile and couldn't figure out how the recliner worked, or simply wasn't happy that the recliner stopped at a certain point, since it seemed like she would only be satisfied if the entire chair was crushing my lap. Now, eventually, I adjusted to this, and about an hour later, I decided that I would try to sleep. I got comfortable, put my sleep mask on and my earplugs in, and just as I had fallen into a very light slumber, I was jolted awake. It would seem that the woman in front of me had discovered that the woman sitting behind me was also French, and she then proceeded to stand right next to my seat and practically scream a conversation back and forth. Needless to say, I didn't sleep the entire trip. Also, may I recommend never sitting next to the bathroom. It smells like urine the entire time, and countless strangers will bash into your shoulders because they are incapable of paying attention to where they are going, regardless of whether you are trying to sleep or not. Well, by the time the plane had landed in Amsterdam, I was quite ready to get off the plane. However, I was also in a slight panic because the plane was literally so late that I had 20 minutes to catch my connecting flight and get my passport stamped. And to make matters worse, when the captain asked the passengers who did not have a flight within the next hour to please leave, so the people who were almost about to miss their flights could leave first, the entire plane ignored him and got up, clogging the aisles. The woman who got up in front of me didn't have her flight until 3.5 hours later. Okay, so by this point I'm at full breakneck speed, run down the terminal. I had been misdirected 3 times as to where I should go, and after getting swamped, I was randomly selected by security to have all of my bags gone through. So by the time I got through all of that, I was literally seconds away from missing my flight. I barely just made it. The door literally closed right behind me. I remember that. I was actually running around. It's a big, confusing airport in Amsterdam, and I asked several different people for help, and they didn't speak English, or if they did speak English, they were pretending not to, because they didn't want to work and help me, and it was a nightmare. But, where was I? Now, the short flight to Florence was actually a little pleasant. By that point, I finally thought I could relax, that the worst was over. But I was wrong. Oh, I remember this. When I landed in Florence, I waited at the baggage carousel for my luggage. There was a huge crowd, and I slowly worked my way from the front as the bags began to arrive. Well, slowly, the crowd thinned, and then suddenly, I found myself all alone with no luggage. I went to the Lost and Found, where the woman told me that my luggage would not be there until tomorrow. Yeah, no, I was pissed off because I had a bad enough experience, and this was Delta. I don't plan on flying with them again. That was like third strike, you're out, bad experiences. But I digress. They because the plane I got on initially left so late, the luggage itself didn't even make it, and well, like 2/3 of the luggage made it, but mine, of course, was in the 1/3 that got pushed back into the next one, even though I was there on time, but whatever. Quality airline. I went to the Lost and Found, where the woman told me that my luggage would not be there until tomorrow. So there I was, alone in Italy, with no luggage, and not even any shoes other than the flimsy slippers I had worn on the plane. Yeah, that was fun. I still actually have those shoes. I was stuck in the middle of Florence with these little things. Yeah, I had that. That's it, and I mean, I unfortunately brought a little change of clothes, but yeah, it was not ideal way to start out a trip by yourself. I nearly had a meltdown at that point, but was able to pull it all together and make my way to the hostel. And from there out, things finally started to get better. We got our rooms and all went to a late dinner. Though my feet ached from my lack of proper footwear, and I was exhausted from 2 days without any sleep, I still managed to have a good time. At least I know without fail that things can literally only get better from here. Wow. So, as you can see, my trip to Italy didn't exactly start out on the highest note, but let me tell you, things did only get better from that point. And that's all part of what made it such a growing experience. Anyway, that's it for entry number 1. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Maybe I'll keep going through these all the way through the trip, and hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, that's all I can really say. This is kind of, sharing a little bit of personal experience. But yeah, I guess I'll move on and start working on the next video when I get the chance. I'll catch you guys later. Bye!